Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Wednesday. It's May 8th. It is 2024. We got some day baseball, some night baseball. We're going to talk about the 7-game night slate here on the podcast today. And there will be a free Grinders live I think it starts at 11 o'clock on the East Coast tomorrow. And then I'll be on Crunch Time tomorrow morning right after the Grinders live show, and we'll be talking about what we like for the early slate. It's me, Mr. Cheese is Good, and Kevin Roth, Dean and Blender on the early Grinders live show. So we'll cover all that in the morning. So we're going to talk the night slate here on the podcast. Joined today by my good buddy, Timothy Buell. You all know him as TastefulTides. Tim, what's happening, my friend?
I'm getting crushed in DFS. I'm getting crushed in wagering. My Avalanche are losing currently to the Stars, so it's not a great night, Stevie. It's not a great night for my wallet.
Don't you love when that happens? Like overall for me, it's really interesting on the slate because I feel like I had a lot of the stuff right, and we'll kind of see how it kind of plays out. But right now, like my best lineup that I have going right now is San Francisco stack, and with some Yankees. So we'll see how that plays out. The Yankees did well. Brewers, I don't know, man. Brewers, you just kind of they did exactly what I was kind of hoping for. The over in that game kind of happened, but it didn't happen by the bats that I wanted it to. So, and then the Royals, they kind of slow game as well. It's just and the Cubs. I mean, the Cubs were like the team that I was the most overweight on this slate, and they just didn't do anything. So, really weird slate. A lot of people were on the Cubs, and they kind of disappointed. So. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Tuesday night. We got some baseball to talk about here on Wednesday. And let's get into it. Let's have some fun. Again, we're going to be talking about the late slate. So 7-game late slate. We get started Arizona at Cincinnati. We should note, too, the slate starts earlier. It starts at 6:40 on the East Coast. It's including those like 6:40 games. We got Arizona and Cincinnati, 9 total. Arizona 124 favorite. We got Jordan Montgomery and Graham Ashcraft facing off against each other here. Any interest in Jordan Montgomery?
Not really. This is not, he's got such a low K rate that I'm really not that interested for his price tag. Like you're gonna see a lot of like mediocre pitchers on the slate, and Montgomery kind of fills that same exact position. He's a very mediocre pitcher, low K rate. I would say though that Cincy is worse against lefties, but this is a pretty significant ballpark shift for him. I don't want to attack really anybody that's playing in Cincinnati, so I'm out on him. I'm out on Montgomery.
Yeah, low strikeouts. You really got to be able to attack this offense. They do strike out a bit, but overall, like this is still a team that has a ton of power and a ton of upside. So if you can't attack them, and I don't know if Jordan Montgomery is going to be able to attack them well enough. Like he's really struggled with righties since coming back this year. They're going to throw a lot of righties at him. We saw him really struggle his last time out against the Dodgers. I think he only made it like 3 innings in that game. So I'm with you on Jordan Montgomery. We actually even on a smaller 7-game slate, we have a lot of good pitching options. So Ashcraft on the other side of this game. Any interest here in Ashcraft?
I have a little bit more interest in Ashcraft than I do in Montgomery, but really, all in all, I don't have a heck of a lot. He's around, I don't know, this season around 20% K rate, 6% walk rate. It's just not. I don't really have any interest in pitching pitchers in Cincinnati. Arizona strikes out at a pretty low rate. We're finally maybe seeing Corbin Carroll get healthy, so that just makes it all the less likely that I'm going to be pitching Ashcraft.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that I'll end up playing Ashcraft here. Arizona is a really good offense. They're gonna eventually get it going. We saw Corbin Carroll have a good game on Tuesday. So, and like the ballpark, if this game was in a different ballpark, maybe, but the ballpark is the scary thing. His struggles with lefties scares me, especially like they're able to throw 4 to 7 left-handed hitters at him in this spot. So I think I'll pass on Ashcraft today. Let's talk about these Arizona bats. I actually have some interest in Arizona today. Great ballpark here in the American Small Park. Any interest in Arizona
Yep.
for you?
Yeah, I definitely do. Guys like Jock Peterson, Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, really all the lefties. They all do pretty decently. Have pretty strong numbers against right-handed bats. Or excuse me, against right-handed pitchers. So yeah, I mean, definitely the lefties. Obviously, you can always play Christian Walker. I mean, he's got a 217 ISO against right-handed bats. So I mean, it's not like he's bad by any means. So really that whole top half of that Diamondbacks lineup, I absolutely love.
Yeah, I mean, even depending on like if we get some of the cheap hitters towards the bottom of the order, I think you're obviously a little worried about like pinch hit risk, but like if Marino is out again, like he's dealing with like an illness, we could get cheap catcher alert. Barnhart here at 2,700 going up against his former team, so I don't hate that. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's going to be the high end plays. I mean, Jock Peterson is someone that I really like at 4K. If Pavin Smith cracks the lineup and gets a good lineup spot, 3,200, don't hate him. But overall, I think it's one of those spots. It's going to likely be the top half. So I agree with you there. On the Cincinnati side, I kind of like any right-handed bat that cracks the lineup. Montgomery's still really good against lefties, generates a ton of ground balls against the lefties. So I don't really have a ton of interest in the lefties, but I don't know necessarily how many lefties will end up cracking the lineup. They do have quite a bit of righties that they can throw out here. But I have a ton of interest in Cincinnati in this spot. Montgomery, again, not going to really be able to attack these guys. And I don't know if it's just because they are not on a lot of main slates, but like Cincinnati seems really cheap in this spot.
They do. One guy who's not cheap, but I absolutely love is Spencer Steer with his 223 ISO against left-handed pitching. I know he's 5K. I know that's pretty expensive, but like I don't really want to play, Jonathan India. I don't really want to pay 6,100 for Ellie De La Cruz. So maybe it's just like Stevenson and Steer and Candelario. Maybe Candelario at 3,400. Like Encarnacion Strand does not really have that great of numbers against. I mean, it's a small sample, but he doesn't have really great numbers against lefties. So for me, I think it's just like a 3-man of Steer, Stevenson, and Candelario.
Yeah, I get it. I think Steer is one of the top hitters on the entire slate. Like,
Me
I
too.
think he is a fantastic spot. And like, I know Ellie De La Cruz is expensive, and we like him a lot more from the other side of the plate, but I don't expect Jordan Montgomery to really pitch deep into this game anyway. So if I'm stacking Cincinnati, like, there's no chance I fade this guy. Like, his home run and stolen base upside is just too massive for me not to play some De La Cruz. Overall, though, I think this is a good game for hitters. Like, both sides of this game, I think this is a game we want to target bats and we don't want to target pitching. Baltimore at Washington, 8.5 total in this game. Baltimore is a 176 favorite. We got Kyle Bradish against Mitchell Parker. Any interest here in Kyle Bradish?
I mean, I guess a little bit, just because I think that like he is how much is he? I lost my spot here. All right, so he's 8,400. Yeah, I mean he's a little bit pricey, but like we only have like a couple of high end arms on the slate. So like if he can get you 16 to 18 points, which I think he can, I think he is playable. I think he could definitely be in your GPP pool. Does he crack like in a 1 to 3 setting? I'm not so sure. That's pretty probably not. But I think I think I'm gonna get to a couple of him in like a 20 max setting, definitely.
Yeah, 84 pitches in his first game, I think, is a very good sign as far as like pitch count is concerned. Washington, not the greatest offense in baseball. I mean, they continue to struggle against both sides of the plate. They don't strike out a ton. So that's always like the concerning part about playing pitchers against them. And like it is only the second start of the season for Kyle Bradish, but I think there's a lot of positive signs in his first start as far as like generating ground balls, generating some misses, pitching really well against righties. So he's kind of like a fringe play for me. I do think like we're gonna play Kyle Bradish a lot this year. I think this is a fringe spot. I can say for certain on the other side though, I don't want to play Mitchell Parker against Baltimore 8,500.
Definitely not. Yeah, that's a pretty
The
easy
price.
that's a pretty easy cross off. I had to do like a double take when I saw that price. I was like, "What?" So yeah, no, we're definitely not playing him. He's an
And I
easy cross
do
off.
I do think like talent wise, like Mitchell Parker has talent just in general. So like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to like I don't want you all to think like I'm poo pooing him. But I do think like this is a really really tough spot for him. So I'll probably pass on him, and I'm gonna keep playing Baltimore. I just love this offense. Obviously, really like Mountcastle, Santander, really like him. Westberg, like this spot for Rutschman. I think this is a fantastic spot to target these Baltimore bets.
Yeah, definitely Mountcastle, 305 ISO, yeah, 437 WOBA against lefties this year. Outstanding play on the slate. Definitely going to be looking to get to him. But yeah, I always want to stack the Orioles, and this is a fantastic spot. So I really don't mind paying 4,200 for Santander, 4,700 for Mountcastle, 4,600 for Cowser. Yeah, like really all of them. I mean, I guess Rutschman's 53. That's not too bad. Henderson's really getting up there though.
Other side of the but like Henderson, no one's gonna play him lefty lefty here.
I know,
So
I
like
know, I
that's the
know. Yeah,
appeal. That's
that
the
is the
appeal for
appeal.
sure.
Yeah.
Any interest in the Washington side of this game?
Uh, I mean, they finally did what they were supposed to do with CJ Abrams. So 6K is quite a bit. I still think he could pay it off pretty easily. He would be my favorite play. He's pretty much always my favorite play for Washington, but it's not really a team that I'm going to be looking to get to a lot of. I have no interest really in like Winker or Garcia. Not really. It's Abrams, and that's really it for me.
All right. Yeah, I mean, the reason you play Washington is like they just have cheap stolen base upside. I don't know if we'll necessarily
Yeah.
need that today, but that's the reason that I always kind of get to some Washington bats is just the cheap potential of stolen base upside. So I think that's what I'd be targeting here for Washington is like Garcia, Jacob Young, one offs, not full stacking this team by any means. We got Chicago at Tampa Bay, 8.5 total here. Tampa Bay a 230 favorite. Chris Flexen against Aaron Savali. Any interest here in Chris Flexen?
No. I never have interest in Chris Flexen.
Hey, he's flexing on him, that's for sure. He's like doing this stuff where he's not like getting blown up, but he's not doing enough to like be relevant. It's very interesting. I do like playing pitchers against Tampa, but I don't think that
Right.
any chance that I end up playing Chris Flexen here, even at this price tag. Savali on the other side, I think he's going to be the chalky pitcher today. He's really been struggling recently, and he really struggled the last time he faced Chicago. He has allowed at least 5 earned runs in 3 straight games, and he's allowed 18 earned runs in that 3-game span. He's struggling big time. There's something amiss
Yep.
with him right now. Do we play the chalk? Do we sit him out here? Like, what are your thoughts?
I'll have to look at it more closely. If there's any kind of drop in velocity, then maybe there's something to this struggling. But if there's no drop in velocity, I think I'm just going to go right back to him against the White Sox. So, I mean, pitching is really at a premium on the slate. There's not a ton of really good pitchers. So I know that Savali has the potential to get 24, 25 DraftKings points. There's not a lot of guys on the slate that have that. So I know that it's hard to do it because he's been so bad, but I'm most likely going to go back to him.
Yeah, it's really interesting. His fastball was actually up last start.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, his velocity was at 93.1 in his last start, which is the highest velocity on average all season. So
is it Babbitt, Stevie? I mean,
let's see. I mean, 357, like 300 BABIP's pretty average. Like the 3 games in a row, like the BABIP has been up there, but like his xFIP was really good last time out against the Mets. It looks like he got nickeled and dimed against the White Sox last time out. I mean, again, like nothing like jumping off the page for Savali being bad right now, but it's enough to like worry about playing him if he's going to be chalky. But I mean, we don't have like a ton of pitching options on this slate, so it's really interesting to like how we want to deal with him in this spot. If he's like massive chalk, I could see just paying up to like a Kirby, like $200 more. Mm-hmm. But it's not like we have 10 pitchers to choose from on this slate. Like the pitching slate is very, very limited. So I think he's okay. He's not my favorite, but I think he's okay. Any interest in the White Sox bats in this one?
No, that's an easy pass.
Yeah. If he's chalky and like you're fading him, I could see maybe doing like a mini stack or something. But overall, I don't think that I'll do it here. Any interest in the Tampa bats?
A little bit. I mean, like you said, Flexen hasn't been getting blown up, but he's also really not DFS relevant either. So, I mean, he's got such a low K rate. Like, the ball's going to get put in play, but he's done a good job of limiting hard contact this season. And he really didn't give up too much hard contact last season, other than to righties, where he gave up 50% hard contact. Like, this is a pure, I don't know. I don't know if I'd 5-man Tampa Bay. Maybe I would just 3-man them with like Palacios, Lowe, and I don't know, another lefty perhaps. But really, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the Rays, and I think Flexen can limit the damage here.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an ownership thing. Like if people aren't playing Tampa, I think you could play Tampa. If Tampa's getting a lot of steam, then I could see you being underweight on Tampa. Like this is a pitcher's ballpark. Tampa does have a really high implied team total. Like, so I could completely understand like why you'd want Tampa here. But if Tampa's going to be chalky, like I hate playing Tampa chalk. Like it sounds dirty. So like I think if you're playing Tampa, you're just kind of hoping that they're not getting a ton of ownership in this spot more than anything else. So I think it's going to be an ownership thing for me. Like Tampa's, I have them listed on my paper as like a team to look at on this slate. So like I do like them, and it's just going to kind of be more of like, are they going to be popular? Are they not going to be popular kind of thing? And like the more I think about it, the more I looking at the pitchers on this slate, I don't hate Kyle Bradish, going back to that conversation from last game.
Right.
So
all right. Now I hear you. That's why I couldn't cross them off.
All right, we got Houston at New York facing the Yankees. 8.5 total. Yankees are 144 favorite. Spencer Arguetti against Carlos Rodon. Any interest here in Mr. Spaghetti?
I don't know. He's really cheap. I mean, it's a tough spot, and it is in Yankee Stadium, which hurts him. So I guess not. No, I don't think we have to go this low for salary. I don't know though. Like I'd maybe be willing to take a couple shots on him, like in super large field tournaments, but not a ton of interest.
Yeah, the one thing that I keep highlighting about the Yankees is they're not striking out as much this year as they have in years past, and like that is the like thing that you're really kind of attacking the Yankees because like there's a ton of downside, and we haven't seen
Yeah,
a lot of this guy, but what we have seen is he's kind of reverse splitsy. He has a 446 WOBA against righties, so when you think of all the power in this lineup on the right-handed side, it's tough. The Yankees got to Verlander quick. It was good
yeah,
to
they did.
see for the Yankees. I'll probably pass on him today, but honestly, there's not a lot under like 8K today that you'll love. I do like one other pitcher in this range a little bit more than him, and that's one of the reasons I just don't have a ton of interest. Um, Carlos Rodon on the other side, like he's shown a little bit of upside at times this year. Houston's one of the lowest strikeout teams in baseball against left-handed pitching. Any interest here in Carlos Rodon?
No, I mean Rodon has had success against like below average teams, but Houston is definitely not a below average team, and they don't strike out. So I would pass on him. I have no interest.
Yeah, I don't want to play him in the spot unless for some reason they like hit 4 or 5 lefties and then like maybe he becomes much more playable. But like this team is a very low strikeout team against left-handed pitching. He really struggles with right-handed power. They have enough right-handed bats in this lineup with Pena, Bregman, Altuve, even like a Jake Myers. Like Jake Myers has been really good against left-handed pitching this year, so I think I'll pass on him. And I actually have a lot of interest in the Houston bats because we do get like with McCormick being out, the pinch hit risk is a little bit lower for a guy like Myers. So like I do like Myers a lot in this spot. He's like 3,100 on DK. It's a small sample size, but he's hit lefties really well. And then like you're getting your Altuves, you're getting your Pinas. Bregman is someone I love leaving off my stacks. But it's hard not to have a little bit of interest in him at 4,200 against the lefty. I want to play Houston bats in this spot.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. I mean, this should be a spot where Houston has success. So I really like that Myers call. I got to write that down for tomorrow. That's a really good call. Diaz at 4,100. He's probably a strong play at the catcher position as well. I like your take on leaving Bregman off the stack also. And then maybe getting some of these, high priced lefty, left on left, Tucker or Alvarez.
Yankees bats. Any interest here in the Yankees?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have interest in Soto and Judge pretty much anytime they're, facing like a non-stud pitcher. So yeah, and then Stanton is relatively cheap at 4,400 too. Obviously not as strong a hitter as Judge and Soto, but Stanton's pretty cheap. Rizzo 4,400, I think is not horrible either. Yeah, I mean this team feels a little cheap to me. So I mean, the fact that Aaron Judge is under 6K, just that's too cheap. So he's always in play.
Yeah, I think the Yankees are very much in play as a stack here. It's an interesting slate. There's a lot of potential like hitters on this slate. Like pitching is, I mean, we said it right. Pitching's at a premium because like I mean that's why there's so many hitters on the slate is because like pitching's just not great. We got
Yeah,
Boston.
I'm gonna.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say I'm gonna do my best to save at pitching for the slate because it's just there's just like really good spots for some of these hitters and no pitcher I think with like huge upside except for maybe one.
Yeah, the guy we're about to talk about. Boston at Atlanta. Nick Pivetta, Chris Sale. 9 total in this game. Atlanta 200 favorite. Pivetta coming off of the IL here. He had a bullpen, but he hasn't. He did make a rehab start. 4 runs on 3 hits, 4 walks over 5 innings. I assume I don't have it up in front of me. I assume he threw around like 75, 80 pitches in that rehab start. I don't think this is a spot I want to play Pivetta. Like he's a fly ball guy that struggles with home runs. Atlanta is just a fantastic offense. We're going to play Pivetta plenty of times this year. Looked really good in his first couple starts before he got hurt. Any interest here in Pivetta?
No, he would be a cross off for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass. Chat. Derek says first blood revenge for Sale.
I saw that.
I mean, like he didn't really pitch very much with the Red Sox, so I don't know how much like revenge is there. But I mean, he's probably my favorite pitcher on the slate. Like we're not like I'm a Red Sox fan. We're not going to be able to get all these left-handed hitters out of the lineup. Chris Sale just dominates lefties and righties. Like he by far, I feel like has the highest strikeout ceiling on the slate today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he definitely has the highest ceiling on the entire slate. The Red Sox, I think, kind of struggle against left-handed pitching, and he's a huge favorite. He should exceed 20 points pretty easily in this matchup. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be your optimal pitcher, your cash game pitcher, your, most likely your single entry SB1. Yeah, so Chris Sale's definitely, I think he's going to be super high owned, though. That's the only negative because there's not a lot of places to click for pitching.
Yeah, Boston, I mean, they're 12th in WRC plus against left-handed pitching, but they also have the highest strikeout rate in baseball against lefties this year at 29.2%.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just one of those spots. You're just attacking the ceiling. Like he might give up a bomb or two, but I think like the upside is like 8+ strikeouts. Like I think this is a huge strikeout spot for Sale. I'm hoping that like his strikeout prop comes in at 6.5. I highly doubt it does, but that would be an auto over bet for me if it's 6.5. So, any interest in the Boston bats here?
Maybe Tyler O'Neill if you wanted to get really fancy in a large field GPP. Basically, that's it for me though.
Yeah, like if you're not playing Sale on a team, like I'm not playing him 100%. If I'm not playing him 100%, it'd be O'Neill and probably a little bit of Connor Wong. Connor Wong's
Yep.
having a fantastic year, so and he's really solid against left-handed pitching. But that's really it for me. I don't have a ton of interest in the Red Sox here, just in general. Moving on. Oh, Atlanta. Any interest in the Atlanta bats here against Pavetta?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have to have a little bit. Like Darno, I like quite a bit at 4,300. Olsen, 5,500. Obviously, Acuna is always fine. He's at 6,200. Kelenic at 3K, I think is an interesting like value play in the GPP. I think this whole stack is firmly in play.
Yeah, I think if you're playing Atlanta, you're probably stacking them. Whether it be a 3, 4, or 5 man, like however you want to approach them. I don't think you're one-offing the Atlanta bats in the spot. You're hoping Pavetta is not sharp. Like Pavetta is a good pitcher when he's on. So like I think you're just kind of hoping that there's a little bit of rust there, and you could take advantage of a guy that hasn't pitched much. He's been hurt, so I think that's how you approach Atlanta on this slate. Seattle at Minnesota, 7.5 total, almost a pick'em game. Seattle's a slight favorite in this one. George Kirby, Chris Paddock. Any interest here in George Kirby?
I do a little bit. Like if I want to go Sale Kirby, if I can find some like cheap bats, but really my initial lean is not to build like that. So it's probably going to be, I don't know, like, do you want to play Savali or do you want to play Kirby? It's kind of like one of those things. I would lean Savali, as weird as that sounds. But I mean, he's completely fine. He's a fine tournament play. I think he's relatively safe for on a slate where there's not a lot of safety. So, but I don't think he has much of a ceiling at all.
Yeah, I mean, I like him a lot. Like he has elite control. Like he has one of the lowest
Right.
walk rates in baseball over the last like 3 years. Like he has elite control. It's not even like he's okay. Like no, his control is elite. So I like him a lot in this spot. I actually think that he's one of the better pitchers on the slate. Like Minnesota is a good offense, and we talk about how they have definitely improved since the beginning of the season. But like the flip side of that is like they still strike out and they still have some weaknesses in this lineup. And like George Kirby, he's kind of a reverse splitsy pitcher. Like he has good pitches. Like his fastball is one of the best fastballs in baseball as far as like run value. So he can really attack left-handed hitters, and that's why his strikeout rate's 31% against lefties and only 20% against righties. So they're going to throw a lot of lefties at him here, and I actually think that probably benefits him more than hurts him. So 107 ISO, 276 WOBA against lefties this year. And if we start looking at like the whiff rate much higher against lefties, the swinging strike rate much higher. So I actually like George Kirby here. I hope Savali gets pumped up and like Kirby gets overlooked. And I think this is a great spot to take advantage of that. And I kind of have interest in Chris Paddock on the other side of this game.
If Kirby and Savali have the same ownership projection, who do you like more?
I think I'd still play Kirby.
Real okay.
Like Savali struggles and Kirby's been pitching really solid. Like I think that's enough reason for me to have interest in Kirby over him. But honestly, I think Kirby has a lot of ceiling. And again, like I think Seattle has the best starting rotation in baseball. I think that all these guys have upside. So yeah, if ownership isn't an issue and price is an issue, I definitely have Kirby over Savali today. And it's more of like nothing really suggests that Savali's struggling. So like maybe he's just not pitching well. Like maybe he's just not locating. Maybe the ball's not coming out of his hand the way he wants to. It's just something's going on with him because he's getting hit and he's getting hit hard. Any interest in Chris Paddock on the other side of this game?
I really like Chris Paddock. I'm glad to hear that you also do because Seattle just strikes out so much. He's only 6,500. It's a highly volatile spot because Seattle's not a horrible offense, but they do strike out a ton. And Paddock's got a huge ceiling, especially at 6,500. So I think if you want to take a few shots on him in tournaments, I absolutely love that. He's probably my favorite. I don't know, favorite cheap pitcher. Definitely favorite pitcher under 7K. Easily.
Yeah, I think there's only like 2 playable pitchers today under 8K, and he's one of them. And the other one's in cores. So it's like,
right.
I definitely prefer him over Hicks, who we're going to talk about, because I do like Hicks today.
Yeah.
But I mean, Seattle's just striking out at a huge clip. Just their strikeout rate is awfully high, and Paddock, when he struggles, it's like left-handed power, and they just don't have it. They don't have left-handed power. Like Polanco's a good hitter. Rojas has been solid. They bat 7 righties on a nightly basis against right-handed pitching. So you're telling me I'm going to get a high strikeout team that has 6 guys over 30%, and now like I'm getting all these righties? Like it just plays into Paddock's hand. He has a 25% K rate against righties this year, with a 13.2% swinging strike rate. Like he's really solid against righties. Where he struggles is lefties. He doesn't have the attacking pitch against lefties. So I think he might give up a run or two, but I think at this price, you're kind of baked in to a run or two, and 6 to 10 strikeouts, I think, is super doable in this spot for Paddock. And we know he has the upside. He's shown it to us already a couple times this year. So, I think that this is just a really good spot to play Paddock. And I don't like outside of Rojas and Polanco, I don't have a ton of interest in the Seattle bats.
Yeah, I don't really have any interest at all in Seattle.
Oh, and we should mention Cal Riley. Like Cal Riley is another guy
just because of the catcher position. Yeah, and he's under 4K.
He has that home run upside. So, Minnesota. Again, like Kirby's kind of reverse splitsy, and this is a very left-handed heavy lineup, and like he was reverse splitsy last year, so it's not like this new thing. So I probably don't get to a lot of Minnesota bats today.
I definitely am not getting to any Minnesota.
Well, there's plenty of bats on this slate. I don't want to take hitters that I feel like are iffy. Like I don't want iffy bats.
Exactly.
All right, we finish it out in cores. We got San Francisco at Colorado taking on the Rockies. 10 total in this game. San Francisco 184 favorite. Jordan Hicks, Peter Lambert. We'll go to Jordan Hicks here first. Kind of already mentioned that I think he's an okay play today. Nothing great about Jordan Hicks, but nothing great about the Colorado lineup.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting shut out on Tuesday night by Kyle
You
Harrison.
shut your mouth. Do not
What?
jinx Kyle Harrison.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Just kidding.
I did not just say that. Never mind. But yeah, I mean, Jordan Hicks does have a ceiling. I mean, Coors does suppress strikeouts, but I mean, he does have a high strikeout rate. So I think you could play him. I like Paddock more in that same price range. But if Paddock for some reason gets ownership, you could easily pivot to Hicks.
I was messing with you. Harrison was my second high. Like I locked down Moto tonight. Like I just played him on every single team I built. And Harrison was my second highest owned pitcher on the slate. So I was like, don't jinx my guy.
I was getting 80% of him in Sims that I was running on Grinders Love. I couldn't believe it. I never seen something that high before.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild. Yeah, I mean, I think Hicks is okay. I prefer Paddock. I think Paddock has a higher ceiling. So like I don't know how much Hicks I actually end up playing, but he's like the other option in this like price range that I think is okay. And that's not like a ringing endorsement or anything. I can tell you for certain, no, I'm not playing Peter Lambert on the other side of this game. This guy is not good at all.
No, that's a very, very, very easy cross off.
Yep, love the Giants in this spot. I mean, Peter Lambert really struggles with lefties, so they're going to get all these lefties in there. They use their long relief Ty Bloch on Tuesday night, so we should get righties out of the bullpen here for Colorado. I think this is a fantastic spot for the Giants.
Yeah, this is definitely a spot to attack Coors, or excuse me, attack Colorado. Yaz, Conforto, Wade, Lee, all those lefties, Sable. But I mean, you could play the righties also.
Yeah, Chapman.
Flores.
Back in there.
I mean, all of them really, except for Nick Ahmad. I'll pass on him.
He crushed one foul tonight. I was watching the game. He hit one. If he would have straightened it out a little bit, it'd been gone. Rockies bats against Hicks. Any interest in the Rockies bats here?
You know, I honestly I just don't. This team is just so bad. I don't know. I really don't see a reason to get to them, to be honest.
Yeah, the problem is like Hicks is a ground ball guy, and a lot of these guys hit the ball on the ground. I mean, my favorite would be McMahon. I don't know if I want to one off a Rockies bat though, like Coors bat in general. Yeah, I mean, overall, I don't have a ton of interest here in the Rockies, but I could see myself using them as like 3-man stacks. Just if they don't get a lot of ownership today because they have been struggling so much. So, that's kind of it. Let's play the morning grind game and we'll get out of here. Oh, my phone is blocking my sheet. There we go. Under 8K to get, and like I've done the morning grind game, and the answers of like the questions have been the same for like 4 or 5 years, and I still don't memorize them. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you
got? Paddock.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that. I feel like that's clearly the answer here. I will go Hicks, but Paddock's clearly the answer here. Over 8K to score under 15. Who is your bust today?
I will go Pivetta.
Yeah, I'm going to go Parker. Yeah. Over 4K to hit a home run. Who is going yard, not in Coors today?
I mean, I'll go Ryan Mountcastle.
Yeah, I like that answer a lot. I like that answer a lot. I'm gonna hope that like we're starting to see something good here from Carroll. So give me Corbin Carroll to go yard in this one. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who is a cheap bet that you like today?
I'm gonna find. I'm gonna go with your guy just because I really liked your call on it. I'll go Colton Wong.
There you go. I'm gonna go Jonathan India to get 2 hits today. Really like the price tag on Jonathan India in Cincinnati against Jordan Montgomery. Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who's scoring some runs today?
Outside of cores, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you can't take cores.
All right.
Giants are cheap.
I'll go Baltimore.
The Orioles love it. I am gonna go. I think I'm gonna go to Cincinnati against Jordan Montgomery. I really like the Reds today. I think they're a really good stack today. Any player props or pick 'em? I can't speak. Any pick 'em plays or player props that you like on this slate?
I just took Mitchell Parker under 4.5 strikeouts, -135 on DK.
I like it. I'm really like patiently waiting to see what like Chris Paddock's strikeout rate is or the strikeout prop.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see that too.
That's one that I have circled today. I can't wait to see Chris Sale's strikeout prop. So like neither one of those are up yet. So those are two that I'm kind of looking at in this one. So I'll be waiting to see kind of what the waiting to see what we get with those. There's not a lot of lines up in general yet. So I'm gonna pass on like giving a recommendation, but yeah. Stone versus Miami is the early slate. Easy. We'll be doing that on Grinders Live and Crunch Time tomorrow. But yes, I do like Gavin Stone against Miami. Any lines, money lines against over or under, anything like that for you here?
I haven't looked at any lines yet. Let me look real quick.
Hey, I gave out the Brewers Royals over, and I got there in the ninth, late in that game.
I gave out the Cubs Padres over tonight. That did not go so well.
The Cubs, man. Oh, what a brutal day for the Cubs, man. That was rough.
I kind of like the Diamondbacks -118.
Yeah, I don't necessarily hate that. I'll be honest. I looked and I didn't really love any of these lines. If anything, I don't mind the under on the Boston Atlanta game. 9 total in that game. 2 really solid pitchers. What about the Sale K prop? It's not out yet. I can't wait to see what it is. I'm very interested in it, but it's not out yet. So can't recommend it if we don't have a line yet. So Tim, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Nope. Thanks as always, Stevie.
Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out, everybody over there on YouTube chat. We're going to get out of here. Hope everyone has a fantastic Wednesday. We're back on Thursday talking baseball. I think it's a small slate. Maybe I'll do a Plate IQ share on Thursday's slate. I know everyone likes that. So hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.